What's up, guys? It's True Crime King. In this video, we're gonna be taking a look at a former mobster for the Columbo crime family and seeing what happens if you break the rules of the mafia. Let's go.
Well, yeah, we're breaking one of the rules that is told to you the day you become a main guy. You know, you never turn on the family. You have to come whenever the family calls for you. They come first. No drugs. Obviously, omerta, no talking to the law.
So no drugs, no talking to the law, no messing around with other people's wives. Yeah, all those rules got broken.
And no messing around with other people's wives or girlfriends. You know? So I learned that rule that day, but as the years went on, I also learned every one of those rules is broken. It's a facade.
Wow.
Everyone. There were so many guys dealing drugs, so many guys dealing with the feds. My boss himself was a 30-year informant. You know, that's like the coup de grace, the end of the story of my life, to find out that he was, you know.
Yeah, his boss was Greg Scarpa, and he also was fucking his wife. This guy's name's Larry Mazza.
Informant for 30 years.
That's interesting. I had a guy on here. I think the only other guy that I've had on the show who was like previous mafia was John Alight.
Yeah, Johnny.
And he was saying the same thing basically.
Yeah.
There's no.
Yeah. Typically, they wouldn't let somebody else do it. If it came down to, and I'll tell you a story where I had to be killed, my own family would do it. They weren't allowed Gambinos to do it. And there's a reason. They figure they'll torture me, they'll make it real hard. You want them away, we'll get rid of them. We had a friend of ours.
They'll probably just send him to some private fucking island somewhere, or instead of killing him. I mean, how are they gonna know that they?
Tony Frezza, who used to like to go out and drink, and when he did coke, he got a little crazy, and he liked the coke.
A lot of people like the coca.
So he's in Sammy's club called Tally's.
Cocaine.
And he winds up getting out of hand, acting crazy with it.
A lot of ex-girlfriends that still do that shit, and they're fucked up, man. They're still fucked up.
The owner, Joey D'Angelo is his name, tells him he's got to leave, and he's a good fella. Tony wasn't a wise guy, so he doesn't go. So now a couple of the guys bounces, they physically take him out. He goes home, gets his gun, comes back and kills the good fella.
Yeah, you don't do that. You don't kill a good fella if you're not a good fella.
That's a mortal sin. Can't even raise your hands to a good fella.
Yeah.
So he winds up, Scappy tells him, get out of town. He goes down, comes down to Florida. I might have been in this area, Tampa. So he comes down to Florida. Yeah, I think it was Tampa, it's funny. And he's trying to sort this out. So he goes to have the meeting with the Gambino family. And I'll never forget this either. We know he's at the meeting, and we're waiting for him to come back. We all like Tony. He's one of us. He's a tough guy. He's good, you know, we all liked him. He comes walking in, Scappy. He used to walk in, you bouncing his keys in his hand. So we heard him come in. And he always said, gentlemen. So,
Gentlemen.
he did. He says, gentlemen. And we're all waiting. He says, I got good news and I got bad news. He says, the bad news is Tony's got to go. The good news is we get to do it.
So Tony's got to be killed for killing the good fella, but they are allowed to kill him themselves instead of the other family doing it and torturing him and shit.
How chilling is that? That was the good news. But I understood. They would have probably tortured him.
That probably is good, man. Good news.
So, yeah, it's,
Send
you
him
know,
to
when
the
I was
Bahamas.
on the outskirts of that, one of my early hits.
Were you there for that?
Yeah, I wasn't at the actual shooting, but I was there. I actually picked Tony up with Mario at the airport.
guy that's talking has apparently admitted to killing 4 people and allegedly was involved in 25 other murders.
Greg Jr. was waiting for
Did
him.
he know that he was about to be executed?
No, he thought, as a matter of fact, we made a stop, and Mario ran in and bought coke.
Really?
So he thought everybody was going to go party, and at that time I didn't do a lot of drugs or anything. I drank a little bit, but anyway.
I'm sure he dabbled.
And the hole was already dug in the woods behind Gregory's house. And that somebody flipped years later and told where the body was.
Why wouldn't they just be like if they really loved this guy like a brother? Why wouldn't you just be like, yo, go to the Bahamas, don't come back?
But that's what I said I would have done. Again, it's a difference, but a guy like Scappy, who lives by the rules of Cosa Nostra, he probably couldn't live with himself. He says if it was the other way around, if they hurt one of our good fellas, we'd want the same satisfaction. Right. So there are guys at a certain level who live this life that know the rule.
I guess that makes sense. You don't become a mobster if you can't take it, right?
And they just take it to the grave,
Plus, I guess you'd have to always have that concern in the back of your mind. If this guy does come back, then we're really fucked.
Then there's a war. And then they could ask for 2 guys. Then Scappy's like...
Yeah, that's true. If the guy fucks up and comes back from the Bahamas or something, then you're screwed.
Yeah, you lied to us,
Right.
So, yeah. And there were others. I mean, Bucky was a friend of ours that, well, not a good fella when I say that, but he was our friend, that got into the drug business. And he was told to stop. And this is why it's hypocritical, because just 5-6 years later, we were the biggest drug crew in Brooklyn. And I'll tell you how that happened in a minute. But Bucky got killed for dabbling in the drug business, and
He means he was selling drugs.
And he was one of us, but again, it was a rule. You're not supposed to be dealing drugs.
Could you guys find a more humane way to kill your own? I mean, these guys are kind of like your friends. I mean, you just always shoot them, or was there a better way to do it?
No, the only thing I ever knew was a gun. I never heard of guys with knives. Never heard of poison. The only bombing I heard of was when they tried to bomb John Gotti, and they got Frankie DeChico instead, who was on the Paul Castellano hit. And it was another family. The Chin's family and some of the other families never sanctioned that hit that John Gotti did on Castellano. You can't kill a boss. It's a rule. You just can't do it. Because if that starts happening, John's own consigliere told him, what you did, there's a bullet waiting for you now. You broke a rule.
Yeah.
And also, who's going to want to be the boss if you can just start whacking bosses to take over? So you don't hear about it that much. It's very rare. And it's even more rare to kill a consigliere, because a consigliere his position is to save lives.
Right.
And like that night with me, if it was our family, this was 2 different families. So, but if it was...
A consigliere is just like an advisor. The guy you trust the most.
The consigliere, he's like the lawyer, the negotiator,
but he's
mediator.
He's not. He's liked and respected by all the captains and all the good fellas. Okay? So if he calls you to a meeting at 2 a.m, you go, and you have all the confidence in the world, you're not getting killed. And again, that's a sacred rule of the life. So if you really believe in the life, and he calls you, you go. That slipped over the years too, because guys in that position shouldn't have been in the position. They were cold-blooded killers. It's typically a position where a guy did his work, made his bones over the years, he's well-liked, he's smart. He can, almost like you said, the movies make it like a lawyer, like Tom Hagen in The Godfather. But as a matter of fact, Greg told me that's the best position in the family. Because you're untouchable, and it's a lifetime assignment. They can never break you. If you're a captain, they can demote you. If you're the underboss, he can demote you. If you're a consigliere, it's for life. And that's the other reason it's such a trusted position.
guys. True Crime King out.